Hello, everyone. I'm sorry about the little internet issue I had. Let's start with the session today. And I extend my warm greetings to all the attendees present over here. On behalf of the Biology Society, I, Sonali Manath, the head of events, welcome you all to session 2 of book discussion on The Curse of the Self, written by Mark Leary. The Biology Society, or TBS, is a global student community that provides a common platform for all the biology enthusiasts. Here we discuss about our interests and the latest topics and trends in the field of biology. Our members are engaged in various events and activities throughout. To know more about our society, you may visit our Linktree website. And to join our society, you may fill in the membership form. It'll be provided, both the links, that is the website and the membership link, will be provided in the chat box. Talking about today we'll be having the second session. Last week we had the first session. In the second session, we are going to be discussing chapter 3, 4, and 5. These chapters revolve around the topic of ego. And the book itself talks more about self-development and self-reflection. So to begin with today, we'll be discussing chapter 3, 4, 5. I hope to hear all of yours opinion on this topic. Talking about that, I request all the attendees to be very active throughout the discussion and voice their opinion by unmuting themselves or putting their opinion in the chat box. Our speakers for today are Pooja and Aishwarya. They'll be taking up the book discussion, and we'll be having a short quiz after the discussion of chapter 4, which will be taken up by Mehak. So with this note, we'll all start with today's session. Over to the first speaker, which is Pooja.
Thank you, Shonali. So good evening, everyone. I welcome you all into this session of the book discussion. So on the last turn, the chapter 1 and 2 was beautifully explained by Dheeraj and Aishwarya. And so taking forward the discussion, today we will be discussing chapter 3, 4, and 5. The chapter 3, the title of the chapter.
Am I the only one who lost voice?
I think she's facing internet issues. She'll continue one second.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible, Pooja.
Sorry for the interruption. So the chapter 3, the title itself says, through the eyes of the ego. Here the author has stressed upon the word ego. Like the whole chapter revolves around this single word, ego, from the last to the beginning to the end. We will have a discussion on these terms only. So I would like to ask you guys, like, how can you define this word? Like, what does this mean? What does this word mean to you? So I would like to ask to the audiences and the viewers, so that how can you define this word, ego?
I think
You can write in the chat box, and or you can.
yeah.
I'll try defining what an ego is. For me, it's I mean, the way it's portrayed, ego is a really negative thing, but I believe ego is what makes us an individual. And in the first chapters, as we discussed, we are different from animals, right? But that doesn't just make us different from everyone else. So what makes us different from animals, we just discussed in the first chapter. But what makes us different from each other is ego. Each one has a separate identity, right? Separate beliefs, separate views, and all of that. So all of that constituting together, put that in a mixer, grind it, and you'll get an ego. I think that's what an ego is. It's nothing negative or anything, but yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Neeraj. So he has beautifully explained it. So the ego denotes the one's concept of oneself, like the self concept we have, the ideas or opinions that we have about ourselves, and the sense of self importance it possesses in it. So here the author has started with a beautiful quote. Uh, we don't see the world as it is, we see it as we are. That means we as a person define any situation, scenario, or any circumstances and react to it or contemplating the events, incidents, moments according to what we possess in our conscious and subconscious mind. That the reaction towards the events totally reflects our thoughts. Like there are situations where instead of looking for the positive sides of that events, we stick onto the negative side of that particular event. Like instead of grabbing the opportunities, we just keep on waiting and start to gripping, like complaining the things that this is not happening right, this is not so cool. We just stick onto the negative side. We just don't look at the positive aspect, right? So this chapter revolves around this concept only, that contrary to our strong sense that we usually know, people don't perceive the world as it is, as it actually is, right? So moving on to the next slide, we have like the heading is the perceiving ourselves, the way we perceive ourselves in a particular scenario or situations. Like people tend to see themselves as better than they really are. Like they over perceive the positive qualities and under perceive their negative ones, right? Like we have always also felt in our friend circle or whenever we go outside, we what we just want to have, like that we want to imprint a positive impression, like we should have a good impression on others, like the way we speak, the way we behave. We just try to put a positive impression on them, right? So trying to put a dominating effect on others in order to put a positive impressions, that's what we perceive ourselves, right? Do you guys agree with it? Hello.
A little.
I actually
Hello.
do agree with that point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious that we try to impress people, and I don't see anything wrong in that. Like the point that you made, that we over perceive ourselves, that's just the way we are programmed, I guess. And I don't see anything wrong. I think it's actually good. We make, we become better in that sense. So I don't know.
But I don't think it comes from within. Like sometimes we do face downships, right? So when we face downships, we doubt ourselves. So I don't think we even I don't think we doubt ourselves. We would doubt ourselves if we knew ourselves very well.
Yeah, it makes sense. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I'd like to hear more opinions on this before coming to a conclusion.
Yeah, we would like to hear more opinions from people. So participants, you can have your
I
views
think,
like in the chat
yeah,
box.
as Dheeraj said, it's good. Yeah, and you, as it is said that fake it until you make it. So it is the same way. Even you are not capable, and if you think about and you believe, even if it is not truth and it's false, yet it can help you to achieve goals. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you want to get other people in confidence, first you have to be confident in yourself, right? If you're not confident about it, you don't perceive yourself as a good one, then people will ultimately perceive you as what you think about yourself.
And
Yeah.
yeah, even in a quote, Mahatma Gandhi said that even if you are not capable and you think and you make yourself believe that you are capable, then you will more likely to acquire the knowledge or the capability on the go, and after a period of time you will be capable, so it helps. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mohammed. Anyone else like to add on something? You are absolutely free to have your opinions. Yeah. So, taking forward the discussions, uh,
I
the
think
author
Gargi
has,
wants to say something, but
yeah, Shanali.
I think Gargi wants to say something, but she's not able to unmute or something.
No, I was able to unmute.
Okay, you want to say something?
I'm just confused. The- Like I cannot accept this statement. I don't know.
Why do you think you can't accept the statement? Like,
Matlab, we cannot follow this statement. Even we are doing it. I think if we self-reflect ourselves, I think this statement wrong track. Then, if we are pursuing this statement. I'm thinking the examples, how I can. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I don't think you can be right or wrong when it comes to this. It's just a different opinion. That's it.
Uh,
Yeah, actually you are not wrong. Like when you believe too much, or it's like overconfidence. When it converts into overconfidence, it will start yeah, harming you. Maybe
Actually,
you are thinking about that.
Let's move ahead, Pooja.
So, yeah, everyone has a different opinion.
it's
It's
like
not like,
there is always, it's like people used to say, no, in the books of, you don't need to maintain an image to impress someone. It's knowledge is up to some extent. After that, you need to find yourself why you are in the world. And if you are in these tracks, then I think it's impossible to find. Then you are in the you know in the web of cleavages. Like you cannot find the right track if you are so into making the image to prove people wrong and make yourself capable and good. But if author is writing it, then maybe people used to do it, and it's acceptable.
Another thing is like I accept with like gonna go with Mohammed and Gagi because it depends on point of view what people think. And if we consider failure is the first step towards a success, so unless and until you are eagerly or willingly wanting it, wanting to accept it and find a solution or learn from a failure, it doesn't make sense. Because after a failure, even Thomas Edison has quoted, "I know how not to make a bulb. Like how I know thousand ways how not to make a bulb, rather than I know how to make a bulb." So I guess it depends on personal philosophy and personal point of view, or the way a person wants to think.
Yeah, it totally depends on the way we perceive the things and we define it. So, so on the next slide, we have judging other people. Like whenever we usually think that we are perceiving and evaluating other people accurately, and that our feelings about other people are a reaction to who they are and what they are like. We as a group, or people, like they always tend to uh, make the people feel inferior, like by over perceiving their qualities, like I can do this, I can do that, and in order.
I think judging is nothing but keeping out our points with respect to the person who's in front of us. Or say a person is judging someone, person X. So what do you think or what a person thinks is what judging is. Because everyone won't judge a person on same aspects, whether it may be a positive feedback or a constructive criticism, whatever it may be. Again, it's in personal opinion.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's only up to us that what way we see things.
I think I agree with that. And I would like to add that it's mostly about I think we call people judgmental when they judge someone in their mind. You can judge them in their mind, but obviously you will form an opinion of them. That's human. It's normal. But when you give a criticism directly, probably in the first meeting, that's when you're called like judgmental. Not knowing a person for quite long and then just judging them with a single meeting, or just judging them with respect to an action, or one specific action. I think that's when we call a person judgmental. I think otherwise, I think when we keep the judgment to ourselves, it's just human. It's just human to judge. But when we give a criticism out, that's when things change, I guess.
But there is a saying, first impression is the last impression. Again, contradiction.
No, it can't be only one impression. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
Judgmental.
like Sonali has mentioned. As Sonali mentioned, that's what I'm saying. People usually say first impression is the last impression, but that's not the case every time, right?
Yeah.
Because see, mostly when we go out, for example, you're going meeting a new friend group or something like that, you're nervous. You can't make your first impression great. But there are few extremely confident people, like they make it when they enter the room, everybody looks at them and they know how to build their first impression. So a first impression can give you best to that person, but just because a person doesn't have a good first impression doesn't mean that person is not confident. I think that's how
Yeah,
I
that's
take
true.
it forward.
I completely agree with Shonali. Like on the first impression, we can't judge any people that how good they are, how bad they are, or what kind of qualities they have and don't have. We can't uh,
It's like कि अगर किसी famous scientist ने कोई theory दी भी है and if it get failed, तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है वी आर गोइंग टू नेग्लेक्ट. आई एम श्योर जिसने भी ये लाइन दी होगी देयर मस्ट बी सम रीजन. जैसे चार्ल्स डार्विन ने लॉन्ग नेक की थ्योरी दी थी जिराफ की, वो फेल हो गई थी, बट we used it as a reference. Might be like not we use it. And if I do add on, like judging is by default comes in us. I think at every point we something people prioritize something, and some people have like everyone have other perspectives towards anything, and if they don't breach the freedom and respect, then it's okay to me, like they just said. I absolutely agree.
Not
Yeah, I
taking
do
it
agree with that.
away from the discussion, I guess that line also came from human tendency only. We try to make a first impression, but like Sonali said, when we are going to meet new people or new friends, then we try to make our first impression. We try to look good. We try to speak in such a way that they will like. We have that tendency, I guess, that, and that makes us anxious. That makes us underconfident. But as she said, like some people have that tendency that they enter the room and the room belongs to them. I guess it started from there or something like that.
I think it's built in society now. If if you are going for an interview, then they have the expectation because they are the world most renowned company, and you cannot be someone like, if you can do their best, it doesn't, they don't want it, they just want the best person. And if you don't have your best impression, then doors are open, you can go. And it's not normalized now, you need to give your best.
Yeah, that's why like Indian institutes or like those exams like UPSC, they conduct the personality test. Like apart from the theories paper, they do have a round of personality test like interview. So what they do in that, they just don't judge on the basis of their knowledge, because if they have come to the interview, they know that the guy or the girl or guy has that knowledge, that's why they are here. So the basic thing for that interview is to the presentation, the way of presentation of thinking or opinions they have. So the panel, they expect the participants that they go on to the interview, they expect that they will have a good impression on them by presenting their views and opinions the way they do. So that's why we have those interviews round, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we can say like we have, as a society, have evolved to become judgmental.
So, so here the author has beautifully explained the whole thing, like but the whole thing is like that stick to the one thing, that ego, like the the self concept we have, and the way we view the things that we possess in our mind. Here there's a case of ego skepticism that the author had explained. So it just involves reminding ourselves that our views are sometimes biased by our unavoidable egocentrism, and that we should hold on to our viewpoints less strongly, right? So especially when disagreements arise. But in the short run, doing so undoubtedly makes us feel better about ourselves. But in the long run, I don't think these illusions may compromise our ability that to deal effectively with the challenges of life. that like they are good for the short run, but they won't work on the long run, right? Any opinions from the participants?
I think it's all about what we call being open. When we call a person really open-minded, there are few people who are very open to opinions, very open to feedback, and that basically means they are ready to alter their opinions. And I think those are like the best kind of people that I've met. And because they're like so positive towards criticism and towards anything like that. And I think that was one of the lessons that I even got from Kabir's Doha, which emphasized on the role of a person who criticizes in our life and how they directly or indirectly correct us. I think it's all about it's. I'm not telling that every criticism is right, but sometimes it's like a criticism. We need to know how to judge a criticism if it's right for us or wrong for us. If we think that we need an improvement or something like that, then we should know how to build it in. We should be open-minded enough to involve that change in our life. I think so. Any other opinions on this? Yeah, go ahead, Gargi.
As I said, I agree, Sonali, in this.
Dheeraj, what do you think about this? Since you mentioned in the first slide that you think we are like ego tells us what we are, like it's like a personality. What do you think about this?
I have very contradictory opinions on this entire topic, to be genuinely honest, and people are going to hate me. Trust me. I mean, I'll I'll just start off. Let's see what happens. So basically, I think ego and all, as I said, is what makes us, right? And I'm not sure like how people will take this, but the point that we're discussing right now. Okay, let's just move forward. Let's see. Let's just move forward for now, and maybe I'll put my point forward in the discussion channel on Discord. Maybe we'll have it over there.
Making me curious about your opinion now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What is that? You
Now
have
it
to.
is like, I want to know.
Yeah, let's have a discussion on Discord. Yeah.
We can have a discussion here as well, and then carry it on forward on Discord.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, Dheeraj.
All right. So speaking on these lines, judging and all, I think judging is inevitable. We know ourselves better and we know the world around us better when we judge. And the reason why I say it's inevitable is like if I'm speaking right now and my voice breaks, you guys are gonna judge, and it's not like you're judging it. It's not a conscious thing. It's unconscious, and it's just the way it is, right? So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't. I'll just type it out on Discord. That'll be better. Trust me. I can be more articulate in that sense, and it'll be better actually. So for now, let's just go forward with the session. Oh, Pooja is facing some internet issues.
Dheeraj, you are like, whatever you will do, I will think or will have some opinion about you. So that's why you are saying it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's fine. But in the real meaning, that little bit in a shady meaning, the judgmental means something different. So making each and every opinion except those judgmental, judging is something little bit different. So yeah, like making something which is not true. If I think which is not true about you, or I'm forming opinion without knowing all your thoughts about a thing, like that.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're trying to say, but I'm just trying to find the words. I'm trying to find the different words. I mean, I'm forgetting the words actually. That's why I'm just saying, let's have a discussion on Discord.
Um,
Okay,
So,
that's fine.
yeah.
Okay.
what is coming in my mind right now is it's like there are two people and they want to jump into the water from a particular height, and one want to jump and another is scared. One is one has ego. I will jump and you will see. And it's coming from that person. I will show you that I will jump. And now he can see that that ego makes him stronger, and more, not more scared from that height. And here the personality differ. One is not fear from the height and another is here. It's like yeah, matlab, I can say that ego brings the individuality. You can figure out the qualities in you, what you can do more far from the limits, I think.
I think I agree with that. And I think that's a very new opinion that I heard. And I just realized that, wait, ego can be used to phase yours in that sense, right?
Might be, but it's like Dheeraj said, it can make a person individual, I think, and it's in it. And like I thought Dheeraj is had the same opinion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, ego does make you strong, but it can make you weak too. So it's contradictory over there. So it's a huge topic actually. Ego is an interesting subject to ponder on.
It is
You guys can refer Sigmund Freud. I mean, you might have heard about him. He has this really interesting concept on ego, how we can divide ourselves into three separate entities, like ego, superego, and stuff like that. From what I know, there's no other man who has dwelled so much on this particular topic. And he has really annoying views, you can say, but still they're good to start off actually. So you guys can check Sigmund Freud and his articles on superego and all of that. And he calls another one it. So you guys can check that out, and maybe we can have a discussion on Discord on that again. And yeah.
So here I think that maybe I cannot, the borderline between the confidence or ego. So we are saying that ego can help, and yeah, maybe till it helps, we should name it another thing, like it's confidence. And then if it's hurting or it's harmful for us, then it's ego, like that. Or maybe some other words I don't recall now. What do you guys think about this? So
I kind of agree with that because
Can you say it again, Mohammed? I was not able to hear.
so we are saying that ego can help, and and after an extent, ego can be harmful for oneself. So I'm not able to border between the self confidence or having a lot of confidence in self and having ego. So like that, maybe it's till when it's beneficial for us, it's confidence, and then it become ego when it's hurting our the journey. Yeah, even Dheeraj said about super ego. So I don't know, but yeah, super ego, it's new to me. Exact, exact.
Yes, I'll just post the I was talking about on Discord a while later. It's super ego, id, and ego. He made a clear, differentiation between all three things, and it just makes everything more clear. Like there's a voice running in our head, right? But it's not just one voice; it's multiple voices. So to make a clear differentiation between the voices, he put out some really good works actually. So anyone, I'll just post the links on Discord later, so you guys can check out anyone who's interested.
Yeah, since Dheeraj has already left us curious about his opinion,
Yes, we can.
we can definitely discuss about this on Discord. And do check out, we'll discuss about this on Discord.
I guess
Um,
Pooja is facing some issues.
I think Pooja is facing issues. I'll share the PPT and she can continue with the discussion if she has to.
Yeah, I guess she's done with chapter 1.
Give me a moment, please. Is the screen visible to you all?
Yes.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. Pooja, do you want to conclude on this, on the chapter 3?
I guess she is having some network issues. We can move forward to the next chapter.
Okay, okay. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. We discussed about ego in chapter 3rd, and then continuing that, we'll be discussing more of it and something with what other things would the author has to say in the next chapter. The chapter goes by the title Making Ourselves Miserable. The next slide. In this chapter, the author discusses the idea like how we make our lives miserable by thinking and longing for those things which have never happened, or longing for those things which we actually haven't even lost. Uh, it starts with it starts with the beautiful quote which says, "My life has been filled with many tragedies, most of which never occurred." Okay, the humans actually have tendency to create all those, like we discussed in chapter 2nd, all a parallel world of our self-imagination, where we ponder over all the thoughts, or all the positive thoughts and all the negative thoughts, and we create the world of those tragedies or those illusions which have actually never happened, and we get so much indulged in that we tend to get emotional only thinking about those things, like probably they will never happen, like if we want a dream job, if something's like we want it, that job is something that is my dream. But we create all sets of negative things that if that doesn't happen, what will happen? How will I face life? How will I face my parents if I fail? And all that. The author discusses what what is the extent to which we can go thinking about those things, and how much miserable we can get, or how much miserable we can make ourselves only thinking about those illusions which might never have happened, or even if they occur, that might not be as miserable, as bad as we have imagined it. This is basically the crux of the chapter. Then moving forward, next slide. Sonali, you can change the slide. Okay. In this subheading, the author discusses the idea of worry. So I just wanted your people opinions. Like, what do you think? Why do we worry so much? What is the main cause why we worry?
For
Um,
me, it's expectation, you know.
yeah, that's a good point to start with. Our expectations of ourselves, of others. I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear you clearly.
Also a constant thing running in my mind, like we can connect expectation with ego, and hope is different from ego, is it?
Hope is different from ego. Yeah, I guess it is. I don't know about other people's opinions.
I think it brings
Yeah.
back to the first point that I had made, like when it comes to, okay, I don't exactly remember where I made that point, but yeah, it's all about self-doubt. When we doubt ourselves, we do not, like, we can't make our opinions, and we don't know what we're good at, and probably we have less of that factor. So like they just mentioned, like how much of ego will resemble confidence, and how much of ego will resemble like too bad or something like that. So I think too less of ego will lead to self-doubt, because Dheeraj had mentioned that it's all about personality and things like that. So when he mentioned that topic, I mentioned that it was, I think, all about self-doubt, and there are people who talk about it. And I think yeah, so I basically think it is about self-doubt, and when we have less of ego, we do not tend to think about things that we are even good at. So at that as the picture over there resembles, that she's worried, she's having multiple thoughts about multiple things. So yeah, I think that's about self-imaging. That's how we image ourselves. I think ego is like directly related to it.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Uh, Anyone, anything to add on? Like, what is the basic cause of our worries? Like, we have the tendency to worry about things that we can't even control. We have no control over such thing, and we worry, we fret over those things for a lot of time. Why does that happen? Anyone, anything?
again, it's a contradictory thing for me. We can so much, but it's so hard to control it. Like I have an example, like a child and grandfather, they are on the ground, and that child is doing archery, and he amazed his grandfather by shooting correct on the circle in the middle of the circle, and that he grandfather was so amazed, and he how can you do it, like it's so away from the distance, like he's then he said to his grandfather that he I shoot, like I shoot it, then I made the circle on the on the that board, just pay he had to shoot. We can make things easy, but we cannot try in that direction much. We just worry, and we can make things easy, but it's impossible sometimes. That child easily said ki I just circled it, and it shooted. Like anyone can resemble it. I don't know if it's even matching with the thought, but
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're trying to say. And I guess that's a good point. That is what the author discusses over here, right? That we have the tendency to worry about things that we can control and worry about things that we can control. And this leads to the problem of, this leads to a whole lot of problems like anxiety, depression, awkwardness, anything can happen over that. And here he compares us with the animals. Like we have a problem that we worry so much because we relate our worries to ourselves. Our self should be satisfied in our future. So creating that image that ourselves are satisfied, uh, we worry so much. Here he wanted to discuss that. And like animals, he's not saying that animals don't worry, but they do not have a self to relate it with, and that makes the things way much easier for them, that they don't have to think about it. Yeah, Gargi, you made yourself clear. Moving on to the next slide. Threats to the ego. Yeah. Here it here it is discussed that our worries are related to our, as we discussed in the previous slide, our worries are more related to our ego. If our ego won't be satisfied, if our ego isn't happy with us, then we have a tendency to get worried. We have a fear of failure, and that failure is connected to our ego, that it will get hurt, our ego will get hurt, and that's why we fret over all those things, right? So what do you think are the threats we, how we can handle the ego part in the worry thing? Anyone?
I
Did
think
I make
this brings to one point that I want to mention. This line specifically reminds me of this certain set of people who contradict their own ideas. And when I meet such people, I'd be like, wait, didn't you just tell like 5 minutes ago that you want something else? And things like that. And they like their only aim is to, at least to me, was to, bring their point up and probably contradict some other person's point, which I think is definitely a threat to ego, because and it will also give a very bad impression of us to the other people, because that simply shows that we don't know what we want, and we are not sure about what we want, and we don't in that sense you are not really self-aware, and uh, you don't know your own opinions. Like it's different to mold your opinions. It's okay to be open-minded and accept others' opinion and change your opinion accordingly, but if you're contradicting just for the sake of contradicting to just keep your ego happy, I guess it's wrong, I must say. Okay, I can't call
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
I can't call it wrong. It's just
We got,
yeah.
we got what you want to say. I guess most of the people agree with it also. And at some point or other, we have all been in situations with those people. Any other opinions, anyone? Was someone trying to speak something? Okay, then we can move forward to the next slide, I guess. Sonali, you can change the slide. Here, continuing the previous part, the author states that we have a tendency to get jealous of other people. We have a tendency to have pride in other people, have shame in other people. And especially it happens with those people whom we are connected with. Uh, there's a problem, there's this huge problem with human beings that if someone's not related to us and he or she may succeed, we have a tendency like, wow, it's okay, fine, great, I feel good about him. But if he or she is related to us and she excels in something that is related to our own identity, like uh, keeping it in simple words, like if he or she excels at statistics and statistics is my major, then I have a tendency to get jealous or feel inferior to him and be shameful about me, like I didn't score well, even if I like that person, even if I have no grudges against him. But I have a tendency to isolate myself from that person, that, okay, I have to prove myself first that I am better, then I can uh, face him, or then I can have a normal conversation with him. And that is nothing but just satisfying the egoistic part of ourselves, which I guess some people will say that, yeah, what is the problem with it? Like, we are doing good because of that. But in the long run, having this negative competition with other people, having a tendency to get overindulged in other people's life and comparing them to ourselves is nothing but getting judgmental, not to them, but not to ourselves. And there's what the problem lies. And this leads to anxiety. And we all know that what all harm can it do in the long run. Uh, any contradictory opinions on that are welcome.
I don't have any contradictory opinion, but from the morning I was thinking, like I am thinking, there is something in the every he and she can do so effortlessly, and so effortlessly they can neglect some things. So effortlessly they can do a thing very nicely. Even if we take an example of any famous personality or any good leader, if they are thinking in that way, they are doing it very effortlessly. They don't need to do extra on it. And we sometimes put so extra in the things which give a rise to ego, then with these expectations, and whole the society become like this, and then it's become so devastating in the end for every human being. Uh, like I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
I
We know that we are doing harm to ourselves, but we don't have a control on it. And that is what this whole book talks about, right?
yeah, like we don't need to neglect or forcefully neglect anything. Sometimes we neglect things because we are learned, and we are taught by the society like this is wrong and you don't have to do it, and we forcefully neglect the things. And if you see something very interesting in some subject, then I think there is no need to neglect things, and if you can effortlessly do the things in your majors. Only thing is that people don't define and find their majors.
Yeah. And that is
Even
a
I am not sure.
whole lot of discussion on how to find our true purpose, right? Anyone, any other opinions on this? Okay, we can move forward then. The next slide. Uh, the author basically concludes the chapter by saying that all the things that we have discussed, that all the problems we face uh, due to our ego, that the miserable world we create, we live in, all that can be changed by a single thing, that how we perceive ourselves. Starting the I on this, the whole discussion started, how we perceive ourselves and how we talk to ourselves about us. Like they are, I'm not talking about the materialistic things, but like if we think we haven't lost something, then we have it in ourselves, right? If we think that we have lost our confidence, then we actually have lost our confidence. But if we think we have the confidence to take it out, like do anything, then we can do it. It's just how we talk to ourselves and how we perceive ourselves, right? So this is basically concluding the chapter. Like all the problems, all the things are in- end to all the problems end to a single thing: how we perceive ourselves, or how we talk to ourselves, or what are our thoughts about ourselves. If we want to exaggerate our ego, we will do it. But if we want to exaggerate the better parts of ourselves, we can do that also. It all is in our mind, right? Anything anyone would like to share?
I think the conclusion for me is you have to control your ego. There is no right ego can control you, your own ego.
Yeah, right. Anyone, anything else?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, while reading child psychology, I remember reading a paper which says how children talk to themselves, like very small children, very young children who learn how to, babble. The first thing they talk is they babble. So,
Yeah.
so normally what happens is as we grow up, what we say, we actually think before what we say, right? But with children, it is like as they talk, they become what they've talked. So they are doing what they are talking. So talk precedes the action. For us, it is the action precedes like what we are doing it comes from our talk. So with children, it is like they babble to themselves and they keep on doing it. So I think this is something very relating to how children are expressing their emotions. What they talk becomes their emotions. So I think it is taking us back. This is a very interesting point where it is encouraging us to be as we were in our childhood days. And I think it's very interesting. Like they learn a lot of things. Children learn so many things in the youngest ages, and they just do it while talking. So I think we should get back to our childhood days and start doing the same. It's really interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing those views. Actually, that is quite insightful for all of us, I guess. That
I'll
we should,
forward the paper. Yeah, forgot the name of the
yeah,
author. Yeah,
please do. Yeah,
thank.
thank you. Anyone would like to add on something to this? Okay, then we can move forward. And with this, we are ending chapter 4.
Thank you, Shonali. So moving on to the chapter 5, the title of the chapter is the When Selves Collide. Here the author is trying to say that the self plays an important role in creating and sustaining the frictions between people. Like it has a quote here, like there is a law that man should love his neighbor as himself. So the author is trying to say that this is the self only that creates difficulties for the individual. Like self can also cause people's interpersonal relationship, the social roles we have, leading to mistrust and the disagreements and conflicts and aggression that hurt other people as well. So if we just love the neighbor as we are there, then there will be no point then we will get in the conflicts. Like uh, these are our opinions now, that there are likes or dislikes, that interest uh, that creates the conflicts, that leads to the arguments. Should totally ignore that. We should, if someone is doing wrong, we should distance will be in danger.
Is the crux. So, what do you guys think about it? What do you guys have have thoughts on the idea, what the quote was saying? Anyone?
I think it's yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling,
Uh, yes. Yes, Shanali.
it's mostly about what we see to in the today's world, like uh, humans destroy humans, and that's something that I don't think animals do. Okay, they do partially, but whatever they do it for survival. Humans sometimes do it for survival, sometimes for other reasons, because we are emotionally developed. And I think that's what this quote says, because if we are not human, if we do not have humanity, then eventually we will perish. All of us will perish.
Yeah. And I just wanted to know if people agree with this statement, or they think that we can survive without having interactions. It's not just about the neighbor, right? It's like basically talking about what society we live in or what community. So I just wanted to know if you guys agree with it or you have a disagreement.
I think it's depend on the where in which society we are living.
Okay, I didn't quite get it. Like, if you can elaborate it.
Let me like there are people in society whom you are appreciated by your work, and there are people in society, if you live in society where you are not appreciated by your neighbors for your actions, then it's completely, irritating sometimes. It's my own example, like how society see you as.
It's like
If
we need
a
validation.
dog and his owner is walking, not about validation, like um, suppose me and my dog is sorry.
Yeah, you can continue.
Shall I? Okay. So suppose me and my bitch is wandering on the society, like the person who is seeing us that they are here, their opinion matters sometimes. Like they frequently think that what are they doing here? They don't supposed to be here. Like her bitch will um, shit here and there and make the road unclean, and they might get affected by us. But if you are living in a society where people think, let's see a girl with her bitch is playing in the road, like what a beautiful scenario it is. So it's completely a different thing with different people, with different society. I hope it's little clear what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I got some idea of what you're trying to indicate. Uh, it is like
You
it
you
depends.
can identify from the
Yeah,
person question, like what his personality is and what he's trying to say to us, like.
yeah. Okay, I got it.
And
Is there,
then you have to appreciate their thoughts and have to make a decision, and the decision is you have to compromise it or you have to do like what you want to. It's totally depend on you then. If you want to do what you want to
yeah,
do,
okay.
yeah, the society does not matter, then it's little, but it's living.
Yeah, okay.
If you lived
I
and
got
you
it.
loved it, then life does not matter.
All right. We can move to the next slide. I'm sorry, guys, if we are taking a lot of time. We are really sorry. Okay, moving forward, the author discusses that how we see ourselves is one thing, and how we perceive ourselves depending on what other people have. our image or our reputation, what we have in the society, that leads to the conflict in identities. Like that has a major role which can play in how we see things ourselves. Uh, if I think I am not egoistic, but other I am okay with it. But if I get to know that there are people in my society, there are people in my group that think that I am egoistic, that will surely have an impact, and I'll surely ponder on it. And that confidence that I had, that no, I'm not egoistic, I am not into those things, something like that. I'm sorry. Uh, will actually have effect on me, right? So that leads to an inner conflict, what we have in our mind, uh, only because what the society and what other peoples whom we are talking think of ourselves. And this can be a good thing if we motivate us to better, but most of the times what happens with humans, sorry, most of the time what happens with humans is that we create a negative impact and undermine ourselves in our true potential because of what society thinks about us, right? And continuing this, the author talks about, we can move to the next slide, Sonali. Yeah, continuing that only, the author talks about the fact that in response to what our ego threats, in response to that, we tend to get violent, and we tend to have a violent impact not only on ourselves but also on the people who don't think that we are worthy enough as we think we are worthy enough, right? And this creates a whole lot of confusion, a whole lot of negative impact in the long run on our lives, on the lives of people we are connected with, and uh, overall in general. I would like some opinions on this. Like, what do you think should be done to avoid these, or to have some less effect of other people on ourselves? Yeah, Rohini, you can speak.
Yeah. So what I feel is the more understanding we have of ourselves, like especially for religion, because somehow it's almost always a religion that comes as a barrier to mingle with other people, right? Especially with a diverse country like ours. So what I feel is, I have seen people a lot of a lot, and their religion, their books of, and they are the people who mostly mingle with other people because they're very they understand, why they're able to, like Swami, he could read the text of other religious. The more he read, the more he was confident about his own belief. So I think the more we know about ourselves, the more we explore ourselves, our feelings and our thoughts, the more we read ourselves, I think it allows us to break the barrier and have that self was written in the quote. I think that helps people a lot.
Yeah, thank you. I guess that was really wonderful. And I agree with what she said, that the more we read ourselves, the more we think about ourselves, and not just worrying about ourselves, but actually analyzing ourselves will help us to tackle with all these things, right? Is there anything that someone wants to add? Okay, so I guess with this, we are done with our last chapter. And Mehek, is the glitch with the quiz done with?
I'll share the quiz.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so the game pin will be put in the chat box. 5879597. One second.
Do we need to join the same link?
Yes, it's the same link. Okay, Dhira just joined.
Can we start?
There are only 4 people. Right now. Guys, join in.
I guess Gargi has left, so she won't be joining.
Oh, Gargi is there.
Oh,
Rohini, Mehek, Mohabbat. Oh yeah, Mohabbat is joined. If you guys are facing any issues, you can share it.
Should I join because I designed it? So I would know the answers.
Oh, Mehek. Okay, I think we'll start off with the people that we have. What fundamental trait sets humans apart from other species? All of you got it right. And the next question is, which of the following best describes people's perception of the world? The answer is ideas, thoughts, and opinions. Next question. Narcissist is a person who the answer is has inflated sense of self-importance. Coming up, the next question. What is the biggest bias in people? Ten seconds more. The answer is they overestimate their qualities. Next question. Which of the following does not show people's attributions to about themselves? 10 seconds more. People blame the bad outcome of a situation on themselves. That's the right answer. The next question is, which of the following reflect the better than average effect? Five seconds more. Both of these, that's correct. Next question. Success has many parents, but failure is an orphan. This quote reflects. Five seconds more. The answer is self-serving attribute. Next question. We create a great deal of misery in our own, or misery or misery in our own world. Which of the following stories reflect this thought? 10 seconds more. Wizard of Oz is the correct answer. Next question, which of the following is a curse of having a self? Worry, that's the correct answer. All of you answered it right. Last question, how do psychologists help their patients? Help patients modify self-talks. And that's the end of it. Okay, so it'll be announced shortly. And apart from that, I would like to thank all of you, all the attendees who attended session 2 of this discussion. I hope you enjoyed this session. And I hope you'll come for this third session as well. This discussion, I hope this discussion also helped you answer some of the questions you were looking out for. The links for the feedback form and the membership form has been put up, and you can please give us your feedback about the session, and you can even give us your suggestion and comments. TBS is a society where we aim to grow and we aim to improve, which is not possible without your feedback. So kindly do give in your feedback. Talking about the quiz and the results, it'll be 1 second. Okay, so the first place goes to Aishwarya, who is one of our speakers. The second place goes to Mohabbat Singh, and the third place goes to Gargi. Congratulations to all three of you. Please share your Instagram user ID so that we can give you a shout out.
I don't have an account.
You don't have an Instagram account?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a second. Yeah, so the links have been put up, and apart from this, if you want to go and check out our first session, you can do so by by checking our first session's recording on YouTube. It's available, and the link will be put up in the chat box. Thank you, Gargi. That's very sweet of you. That's very sweet of you. I hope you all have a great evening. Thank you so much for joining.